we're going to begin with the Brooklyn Nets here. They sit at second in the Eastern Conference right now. They have a record of 14-9. Jack, are you going to buy or sell the Brooklyn Nets here at the number 2 position in the East?
Listen, you might not like this take, but you just can't give them a grade right now. You got to give them a TBD right now because they're 14-9, second place in the East. There are games when they seem unbeatable. We saw them last night go up against one of the best in the West, and they played great. And then there are games when they give up 149 points to the 4-12 Washington Wizards. They're 5-3 since they picked up Harden, and they have a lot to figure out. The team that we see now, I think, is going to be a lot different than the team we see at the end of the season. I just think it's too early to give them a proper grade.
Well, I think that's just called Jack being a chicken is what I think that actually is. But you know what? I'm totally buying the Nets. I think, we talk a lot about the LA Rams earlier in the show, and we mentioned the Nets when we were talking about them. But, when the Nets did jump through 8,000 hoops to get James Harden, what they really did was narrow their window for winning the NBA championship to this year, if not next. So, I think that sense of immediacy is very evident on the court. They're 5-3 since Harden has come to Brooklyn, and that will continue to improve as the team remelds itself with this new addition. But to me, that sense of immediacy of the franchise is not buying in on us winning in the next 5 years; they're buying in on us winning right now. And to me, you can really feel that in the court. I'm totally buying the Nets. I think they're going to make a run for the Eastern Conference spot in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dylan. I'm also going to buy the Nets here at the number 2 position. I think I'm a little skeptical, I must say, about the Nets, especially defensively. Since trading for James Harden, which was gaining a poor defender, and they also gave away one of their best defenders in Jared Allen. Their numbers for offensive rating would be the best of all time, and their numbers for defensive rating would be the worst of all time. So I think that says a lot. That's a serious worry. For the regular season, I'm not as worried because I think their offensive firepower and just how good of a team they are, and that big 3 is going to get them to win a lot of games. It's going to set them up for obviously making the playoffs is no doubt, but also set them up, I think, in a pretty good position to make a run at an Eastern Conference Finals. But once you get to the playoffs, I worry a little bit about the defense. They certainly need to step up and play better. You can't have the worst defense of all time and win an NBA Finals. I'm sorry, it's not possible, no matter how good that offense is. So I think I'm going to buy the Nets right now, but I'm a little cautious just because of that defense. I think they certainly need to improve going into the playoffs, and they got to do it now as we get closer there. So going from the Nets, sticking in the Eastern Conference, though, who's the second place team, we're going to jump to the first place team in the Eastern Conference, and that's the Philadelphia 76ers. Dylan, are you going to buy the Philadelphia 76ers as the best team in the East right now?
Well, let me preface this by saying so much credit is due to Philadelphia 76ers fans because next to Chicago Cubs fans and Cleveland Indians fans, they are perhaps the most patient fans in sports. We've been hearing the phrase "trust the process" for how long, and they trusted the process. I'm going to give them that. The 76ers are good right now. And I think they're going to stay good. Maybe not this good, but they're going to stay good, I think. There's too much talent on this team. Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, whoever you want to say. They're too good to not stay good. I don't think they're going to stay up on the plateau they have reached right now in the Eastern Conference because we're like 3 games in or something. I don't know. So I think they will continue to find success. Maybe this isn't the year they go to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they're getting there.
I think that they're probably the most well-rounded team in the East. There's a reason why they're 15-6 right now. And that team is really clicking. Ben Simmons is not putting up gaudy numbers, but he's just a winning player. And Joel Embiid's finally having his MVP type season. And I think the changes they made in the offseason, bringing in Doc Rivers and really getting role players that match with their stars. Like Al Horford, as much as I love him, was a horrible fit with the 76ers. And I think that they've got some good rotational pieces that really mesh well with their stars. And I am definitely on the buy team. No more TBD, no fake grades. I am buying the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm with you guys too. I'm buying this 76ers as well. I think it's interesting when you compare them to the Nets here, who we just talked about, obviously right behind them, and will probably be neck and neck, I think, for this Eastern Conference throughout the year. The Nets have Steve Nash, who, as a head coach, who's had a little bit of a struggle controlling his guys, especially Kyrie Irving. Doc Rivers is about as solid of a coach as you can get. He seems to be a great fit for the 76ers. And then you look at the kind of the supporting cast, surrounding the 76ers that are playing like much more than that. Meanwhile, the Nets, outside of their big three, there's not really a whole lot there. So I think the 76ers are just consistently and thoroughly more of a good team. And if Embiid continues to play the way he's playing right now as an MVP candidate, I'd watch out for the 76ers. I'm definitely buying them for now, but I do recognize the fact that this Nets team is the most talented in the Eastern Conference. If they can figure things out defensively, I have to take the Nets over whoever they play in that Eastern Conference. But for now, I'm totally buying the 76ers just like you guys.